are being
okay, let's go.
Certainly must have seen the LAPD patrol units behind them with the lights and sirens on. And again, very reckless driving here, going onto the side.
What is
the
this?
Mud on PCH as they head north. So clearly this driver knows that they are being tracked or chased by units behind them and the air unit overhead. And this is a very, very heavy vehicle. We see that obviously it's a moving van, a delivery van of some kind. We have no idea how much cargo is in the back, which could affect the center of mass and the weight of this truck, making it more or less maneuverable. But there's really no way that this truck is a safe bet for anyone driving it at high speeds. It's not designed for that kind of a thing. And as you can see here, going right through intersections. But again, we don't see any patrol units behind this vehicle, so they may go back into tracking mode. This is something that LAPD does occasionally to try and take a little bit pressure
on the PCH.
Aspect of the driver, make them believe that they're not being.
I never know how long that the news will stick with these ones, you know?
They can end this pursuit quickly as soon as the
like if they're driving south, eventually it doesn't work anymore.
There's no longer an issue of this vehicle basically being like a missile right now. But as you can see with Skycat, when we zoomed out, there is a bunch of traffic. So this driving, squeezing on the shoulder as they're trying to get by lanes here, and another box truck coming up. I'm not sure that this truck is going to be able to squeeze by that other box truck here. So
NBC's on it too. Okay, ABC is as well.
Right along on the shoulder. Now they've got a little bit more room to maneuver. So they're going to keep going, heading northbound here, definitely into Malibu. Now, LAPD is the original agency that's chasing it, but we're heading into LA County Sheriff's territory. It's unclear whether or not the sheriffs are going to want to take this over or if LAPD is going to give this.
All right, let's run the prediction.
We did see with SkyCal a few minutes ago that those patrol units are pretty far back. I wasn't able to see if they had lights and sirens on. That could make a big difference in the demeanor of this driver or whether or not they are going to be aggressive. So,
Orangey, what's up? E. Dexter, Tekin.
Right now, we just really don't have any information.
RG, Dogs Gaming, Ron, what's up?
This stolen vehicle, but you can see this pursuit continues into Malibu this afternoon.
Yeah, and I know you're still gathering.
Use your channel points. Gamble, do you think this will last 15 minutes?
For Chopper right now, and you know, you're right. You're talking about PCH and heading in the northbound direction into Malibu. We have seen a lot of closures because of the rain that we've seen over the past couple of weeks, and some of those where you can see certain cones.
Will it flip over? It might.
That we had a lot of those lifted. However, I do have my traffic map where I put the weather overlay, and Paul's been mentioning this all morning as well, where if this driver continues to go northbound, we could actually see and potentially hit some rain in the area, which
okay, so they're going north.
Extremely dangerous. Initially, when you were tracking this, it looked like about 25 miles.
I don't like this traffic fucking overlay bullshit.
Speed is starting to
don't like this. Please let me watch the chase.
About this for so long when it comes
please
to
just watch the chase. I don't give a fuck about this. Are you serious?
So having a pursuit like this on a roadway that's configured the way it is, and we've seen a lot of accidents over the past few years.
Well, one of the things you were saying, Scott, we've actually been kind of looking at it, but now we do know that LAPD has confirmed it's a stolen vehicle out of the Pacific Division. And as you mentioned,
lasting at least 30 minutes, Vendro says. How you been, RG? I've been doing all right. How about you?
From somebody that might have been moving, that we don't know yet. And you can watch this person driving this vehicle, and you can see how unstable that box truck is. The one thing I was thinking, as you mentioned it, if it's full, that presents a danger to everyone around because he can't, or she, whoever's driving, can't slow down that easily. And if it's empty, it presents a
What's up,
danger
Queso?
of toppling
Jimmy
over.
Opa.
And that seems to almost be what this is, because every time this suspect goes, right or left, you can see the wobble in the box truck portion of this truck.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And you can see now the roadway is wet. When we were in Santa Monica, the rain hadn't hit yet. And boy, that just really makes things so much worse from a danger perspective. The LAPD is completely backed off with the patrol cars. They've taken a look at this and they said, hey.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that this person was like, how did they steal this? How does this happen?
but we don't want the patrol cars right on the back of the
vehicle.
Oh,
no.
Boy, look at that.
Oh, yep,
yeah.
Close.
Really, you know, you watch something like that and you wonder why, right? Because there are no patrol cars behind the suspect at this point in time. I guess trying to get into the head of a suspect is just impossible. So trying to figure out why is you know, nonsense. But there are no patrol cars behind him, and basically they think at this point in time it's probably the safest bet to just back off, follow this truck from the air. Hopefully nobody gets hurt. The speeds are a little faster than what we see on the roadway here. We'll bring up the speed tracker. We should be pretty accurate at this point in time because we have the right angle. So we're looking at 50 miles an hour, so maybe just a little bit over the speed limit. And we're certainly coming up on an area where we are going to see more pedestrian traffic once we get up into Malibu. We're in Malibu now, but once we get up by the pier,
Winnie, what's
Malibu,
up?
that area, certainly there's going to be some more
Jeff, how's it going?
risk.
Yeah. And being on this one road, I wonder if other law enforcement agencies, you know, might be communicating with the LAPD, you know, what the potential is for a spike strip, because he's not, you know, turning as we have seen in other pursuits where drivers, you know, make a lot of turns in one particular area. We know that he is staying on this one road.
Yeah, as we head up into Malibu, it's LA County Sheriff's area, and so they may take over on the ground. They have an LAPD helicopter overhead, and more than likely he will stay involved in this the entire route until somebody comes to replace him, depending on his fuel status. But a spike strip I don't think would be used unless they can get the vehicle to really slow down, because at significant speeds, a vehicle like this, if you did pop those tires, there's a chance that it could overturn. I don't think they'll go that route. They certainly can't do it.
I don't know that they care about that.
Just not in the cards with a vehicle like this. I think they're just going to watch this. They probably have a lot more information about this vehicle than we do.
Didn't we just have a chase recently where they were like, oh, I don't know if they'd use a spike strip.
Certainly LAPD has a lot more.
It was on the truck. It was on that big-ass truck that eventually started on fire. And they did hit it with the spike strip, and it actually ended up ending the chase.
But at this point in time, I don't think a spike strip is something they'll use unless they can do it at an intersection up ahead in Malibu where traffic is nearly stopped.
Well, that is the only thing, you know, I would think on that is they know, like Giovanna was saying, they know where he's going. It's not a whole lot of options as far as the drive, so maybe they do have an intersection that they see that, okay, if he comes this way, this is where we'll try it. But we don't know at this point. We're just following a stolen vehicle. It does look as if it's a Lowe's rental truck, but we don't know anything about where it was stolen, how it was stolen. It could have been one of the trucks in the parking lot at a Lowe's. We don't know if it was being used by someone, but as Scott mentioned,
they're showing replays on CBS, and it's kind of funny, but I'd prefer not to do replays.
In there and who it belonged to before it was stolen. That's probably very likely at this point. It's the unknown is just what is going to happen as we continue to watch this chase. And what is traffic looking like in front of it now, Scott? I mean, right now it seems to be some cars are even going faster every now and then.
Yeah, it's interesting how the suspect decides he's going to speed up and try to go around traffic at time to time. He may not even be aware the helicopter is still overhead, because the helicopter is even staying behind him for the most part, and it's difficult as a driver to see out of that vehicle with the helicopter.
Yeah, I don't know how you would know.
Fly through the screen right now, and all the patrol cars are backed off.
I never know when they're in there. I think a lot of times they know there's a helicopter, and a lot of times they don't. Or they assume they don't know.
Look ahead, I don't think we really have much in the way of delays, even all the way past the pier in Malibu, up past Pepperdine. What we are seeing, though, is up ahead it looks like we're going to get some heavier rain, and that's certainly
they know when the night's on. Yeah, true.
Starts to drive faster, but there's really nowhere to go, right? You're on PCH unless you get on one of the big canyon roads. You take Malibu Canyon or you go to Canaan. There's really no place to get away from PCH. We hope he doesn't do that, because that really gets sketchy with his truck on one of those little canyon roads. But if he continues on PCH, obviously we will be all the way up into Ventura.
What are all these buildings?
Right now, you know, it looks pretty stable.
Are these homes?
It doesn't look like he's really trying to get away from anyone. And as I mentioned earlier, the patrol cars have really backed off altogether. It wouldn't surprise
on the ocean side.
The LA County Sheriff's
are those like people's? Those aren't people's houses, right? Those are businesses.
Recently, but we're
They're
just
homes.
starting to get in a lot more rain.
That's the move that's terrifying, because it does
Jingle Balls,
seem
what's up?
as if he's just fine driving along, and then all of a sudden it's as if impatience takes over, and he starts to go a half a mile or so in the turn lane, which can be terrifying if you're going to use the turn lane coming the other direction.
They're probably just thinking, how can I bail from this?
There's no
Yeah.
pattern to his driving. One moment he's just fine to stop, and then another moment he's going to do whatever he can. We say
Their
he,
residences.
but I'm not
All
sure
right,
he's
Shinji.
identified that it is a man or a woman at this point in time, but you'll see there just went through a red light. There was no oncoming traffic, so there was no risk. But certainly this individual does not want to stop. No patrol cars behind him, only the helicopter overhead. And we're really coming up to the pier here in a moment. As we widen out, you'll see the pier in Malibu. And there's just not much in the way of traffic. So I think a spike strip is going to be out. I mean, the only place they could get him would be, you know, basically at a signal light. And they may be thinking about that. If the truck's
Jay,
going at a
what's
slow
up?
rate of speed,
Evil,
that
what's
would
going
work.
on?
But if he's traveling at a high rate of speed, I think they might think twice about that.
J-Viz.
The danger or the risk to someone if that vehicle would swerve into oncoming traffic, you know, that could be severe. So I think they're going to think twice about that. Once again, a pit maneuver just doesn't work with a vehicle like this. It's too big. It would overturn. It would cause more damage than, you know, possibly just getting this over with. So I think they're going to be content to just
We
follow
aren't
this from the
restricted,
air
I
for the most
guess.
part and see how this ends up. The suspect drives fast from time to time, as you mentioned, Philip, but for the most part, besides going into oncoming traffic, when the patrol cars were right behind him in the Santa Monica area by the incline, decided to cut through the center median, go into oncoming traffic, fortunately at a slow rate of speed. We may be able to re-rack some of that and get it to you. Hit another vehicle, but wasn't traveling fast enough to do a lot of damage or hurt anyone, and then got back on the northbound side. So we're basically, we're coming up on, I think we're coming up on Malibu Canyon Road here and PCH, and it'll be interesting to see if he tries to go around. It is a red light at the moment, and we'll get an idea what he's going to do here.
Uh-oh.
And he continued to do the same
right
thing.
through the intersection. Yeah,
So we do have some more information that the LAPD has backed off. I think they still have the helicopter here, and they're going to
Got those
go ahead
windshield
and turn
wipers
this over
going.
to the LA County Sheriffs. This is their area.
I'm surprised that the
So
news
they're gonna be a
stations are
little more
sticking
familiar
with
it.
this,
They're going to have more units in the area.
given the weather.
CHP may assist. That's a good possibility, but. It looks like now there's very little traffic.
I'm starting to feel like maybe we will not
as we travel, through this
see the
area
end
of
of
Malibu, but
this.
the rain is just now starting to come down pretty good.
Yeah, and so for those
It's going
of you
north,
just joining us, we've been following this
and
pursuit.
it's raining.
We started with it in the Pacific Palisades area. This
This
is
could go on for a
stolen
long
Lowe's
time. The news
truck.
station will not be able to stay with it.
Rife is in Air 7 over it and has been following it now, what, about 15 minutes? A moderate speed chase or pursuit, but he has been driving dangerously. Scott, tell us again some of the incidents that we saw earlier.
Yeah, the worst of it, Giovanna, was in Santa Monica. Now, we originally heard about it on the Santa Monica Freeway westbound at the 405 freeway, basically, and the suspect continued in this truck to the PCH and then got on there northbound. And basically on PCH, right off towards the incline there, right off the split from the 10 freeway, there was a lot of oncoming traffic on the southbound side, and northbound it was stopped. Well, the suspect decided to drive that truck through the center median. There's two lanes in both directions, and went into oncoming traffic and swerved around a couple of cars, but maybe 3 to 4 miles an hour. It was just stopped, did hit a vehicle, and then, excuse me, no, here he goes. Marcel's a magician. He was able to run the camera and re-rack this. That's
Yo, screw you guys.
See right there, the suspect went
No.
oncoming traffic to get away from the patrol cars. So since that time, LAPD decided, okay, that's enough of that, right? That's dangerous. And they backed off with the patrol cars. They kept the helicopter overhead. Thank you, Marcel. It was fantastic. And now LAPD overhead, they're gonna continue with the helicopter, but they're gonna hand this off to the LA County Sheriff's Department.
I've got to say that was pretty impressive to be able to continue to shoot a live chase, rewind, and show what happened at one of its most dangerous spots. But Scott, I think to you and Marcel as well, that is indicative of why they backed off. You said it, but it is you can't. I mean, he was well over into oncoming traffic before finally making his way back over to the northbound side. And, you know, we can see with his windshield wipers, a moment ago, the windshield wipers were on. So you can see the sheen on the road.
Jay, 307?
And he's heading in the direction of the more severe rain, heading northbound. So this person, even though authorities are not right behind him or her, continues to, when finding themselves boxed in, they're willing to drive into oncoming traffic, onto the shoulder, through intersections. This person has shown no indication that they're going to stop.
Yeah, none whatsoever. I look out the window. I think the LAPD helicopter may have backed off altogether. I'm not certain. I just don't see him. PCH is down to one lane here. We've had a lot of problems on PCH over the last couple of weeks and months with all the rain and landslides. There's a lot of work going on. So you can see it's one lane here. It's narrow, but you can also see the truck's not really traveling at much a higher rate of speed than the normal traffic through this area. And we have gotten away
Harry
from
says
what there was a
we
little
need
concern
new
about when we first started
legislation
follow this, the
to stop
pedestrian
these
traffic
idiot
in
reporters
the
from being able to
Malibu area.
speculate.
Since we have
Truly
these types of
bizarre seeing
conditions
people
today
get
with
paid
the
to
rain not
vomit
sharing,
words. You're right.
seeing near as
You're
many
right,
people
man.
out,
They just
coming
keep
to the
talking
beach,
and
walking
talking
to the
and
beach,
talking.
surfing, that kind of thing. And so, fortunately, we did get
Anything.
through that
Just
area
say
where we see
anything
a
at
lot of
some point.
pedestrian traffic, because we know, and we have so many fatal incidents on PCH. They are trying to make changes, but it's a difficult highway to kind of fix so that it's not treacherous and not dangerous, especially on the narrow sides when you have people coming
Yogi,
out
what's
with
up?
pedestrian traffic.
Yeah. Has he passed Pepperdine? No, not yet, right? Still heading that
Yeah,
way?
yeah, we're well past Pepperdine.
Oh, you are.
Yeah, we're well past that. We're coming up. Zuma Beach is going to be up ahead. I think Joffrey's is right in here
Gee,
somewhere.
look
if
at
I'm not
these
mistaken,
houses.
If that gives you a little perspective on where we're at. But we don't see excessive speeds. And I really think, the strategy with LAPD is the correct one. Because it doesn't seem...
I mean, how
worth it to get
fast do you
right
think that
behind this
thing even
vehicle if He's
goes?
going to drive like that. And now that they backed off, the helicopter's not there. We're pretty high. We got to stay pretty high here because we
KK,
don't lose
what's
our
up?
signal with the the mountains there, Santa Monica Mountains to the north of us. And so the suspect may not even believe that he's being followed any longer. It's possible.
Yeah, but your understanding is that LA County sheriffs are sort of taking over for this, or will be keeping an eye on this?
That's correct. It's their pursuit now. With the helicopter backing off, a lot of times I think maybe they have some information.
There's a lot of
Maybe
water
they know
on
who this
the
individual is.
road.
Maybe there's a tracker on the vehicle. Maybe, a lot of things that they know that we don't. We can speculate about, but they've decided to back off, so possibly they're just content to let this individual continue to wherever he's going, and they'll catch him at a later date. As long as nobody
Are the
gets
police
hurt,
completely giving up?
that's a real good strategy.
Well, and certainly the possibility for somebody to get hurt is significant with that vehicle, but you
Steven,
do
what's up?
seem to see a different attitude as far as driving. I mean, visually, I don't see as many times driving into oncoming traffic or in the turn lane, and he's going faster than traffic. But if this person stops running red lights and starts maintaining some rule of law, it's going to obviously be the way to go. But look at that.
Did he force that vehicle over?
Now he's...
Yeah, he's still... If he wants to come over, he is willing to basically force somebody over to the shoulder or to the middle of the lanes.
Yeah, for no reason, though. He didn't have any obstructions in front of him, so I wonder if,
Distracted.
you see something like that, you start to think about drugs or alcohol.
Yeah.
Just look at that. Not having the ability to really control the vehicle, that certainly could be a possibility. But
I think he's got control over the vehicle.
We're getting into a little bit more rain, and we're coming up on Canaan, so that gives you an idea where we're at here on PCH. But yeah, all the patrol cars have backed off, and it seems like a really good thing.
Well, and Scott's signal just froze, and if he's coming up on Canaan, that kind of explains that too. I was going to ask him how long would his signal hold as it began to head in that part of PCH.
Yeah, he did say he had to fly up higher to maintain the signal, and there he
He's
is
back. Okay.
Scott?
Yeah, that could happen from time to time because the clouds.
Actually, I'm
going
gonna
to
switch for a second.
So we'll try and maintain it.
These people are
We'll get as
boring
high as
me.
we can right up to the base of the clouds, and hopefully we can maintain the signal. Once we get a little further.
I think we might get some... Man, these guys are going to show me this shit.
Entire
Whatever.
roadway off limits. However, as this driver continues northbound, and I'm checking the traffic overlay
ABC's
that
going
I
to keep
have right
having
now with
connection
the
issues,
weather,
so...
there does look like there is a heavier spot along PCH. That's the yellow in the traffic map there. So if the driver continues in that direction, you will see heavier rainfall, which could make this even more dangerous. We always have to think about this when it comes to these pursuits, and this is something that officers have to think about as well, is public safety, is their own safety too, safety of other people on the roadway because of these conditions. I have a feeling that's one of the many reasons most likely that they're stepping back just a little bit. And this driver, I mean, a box truck going 65, 68, 70 miles per hour is extremely dangerous, especially in the rain. I can't tell you how many times for a morning commute, and I believe that sign just said the speed limit was 50 there, so well over the speed limit.
the
So many
ABC
times
has
during,
moved off of
the
it
commute
now.
time where we
They are
see
not showing it
drivers lose
anymore.
control in
So
box
this
trucks
is
because of the rain.
here's the
because of
NBC
driving,
is.
too fast. So this could be
So
extremely
let me
dangerous
check on
as
that.
they
Oh,
continue northbound,
yeah, okay, hold on.
because of the rain and everything else. Right now, speeds at about 70.
For some reason, the NBC website does not work on
times. We
Chrome
have
because they're
65,
just
so we're kind of going
so
between that
smart.
60 and
So
70
let's
mile per
try
hour mark
another
as this driver
browser.
just continue here in the stolen box truck
Okay,
pursuit. If
I'm
you're
gonna
just
switch.
joining us here on KCAL News, we have been
I don't
watching
think it's
this
Eliana.
stolen box truck, this driver taking off here on PCH.
Or a vehicle
Marcus
fitting
Markham-
this description so that another police agency could pick up the
That's a
pursuit.
lot of
But
water
right
on the
now,
road.
No police agencies in pursuit of this vehicle. No
What's up,
airships
Chato?
overhead.
You know, I venture to say, Roland, this isn't a very difficult vehicle to spot, either now or later, somewhere down the road. So
I don't know how long
so
the
you
news.
put
All
that
right, we
alert out.
passed the
Again,
15-minute
we're not
mark a
talking about
long time
sedan
ago.
that
Nobody
mixes in
mentioned
with
it.
Mixes in with everything else. This is a pretty specific box truck. And it was,
Because very
pretty
few of you
much,
voted, I
right.
guess.
Pretty much, they're not going to have any trouble identifying this vehicle at all. And again, it's just going to be a matter of another police agency because he'll be coming into Ventura County here. And in fact, we're at Trancas Canyon right now, and that's one of the canyons just before you get to the LA County-Ventura County line. And so his intentions seem to be just to continue.
All right, I don't
on the
know if you
405
guys want to
freeway
do
as
the
far as
30-minute
he can
prediction.
get,
I think it's kind of
including
pointless.
officers,
Like, I think the
even
car's
though
going to
there are
keep
no
driving that
officers,
long.
directly
It's just a
behind
matter
it
of
or overhead.
will the news
Now,
even
as
still
I
be
push
there?
in, look at the mud.
Yeah.
That's a
coming
lot of
down
water.
off the hillsides and so forth. And of course, you got
Yeah,
all the
Stealth.
water that's right there coming off
What's
the
up, by the way?
wheels. It's a good thing that he's not going excessively fast, but I would venture to say even with a vehicle of this size and this weight, even 60 miles per hour on a 2-lane highway or a 4-lane highway like this is still much too dangerous to be traveling at.
They will
Yeah,
stick.
and
I
then
mean,
taking
I
into
don't know, man. I don't know if they
consideration that it
can.
hasn't rained in a couple of
Astros,
days,
what's
so
up?
We could see, so there is that concern that there is
Like, at some point,
oil
there's got to be.
on those streets and
They're getting
this
too
driver
far
could
away from
easily
their
skid.
base and the
Absolutely,
weather.
that's a possibility, but this guy is just wide open right now. Whole lot of real estate up in front of him. Doesn't seem to be a whole lot of vehicles or traffic out in front, so that
Big
gives,
C's, what's up?
A whole lot of opportunity for him to just mash it, put the metal to the pedals, if you will, or the pedal to the metal.
The metals
if you
to
will,
the pedals.
And just continue on northbound on Pacific Coast Highway. Now, I'm certain that because a bolo or announcement's been made to surrounding police agencies, hopefully they'll be able to intervene here at the Ventura County line, but it's just unclear whether or not they'll be picking him up. I've been trying to listen on the scanner here to see if CHP or Ventura County Sheriff is getting into place to try and
Fire
pick
this
up in
man.
any way, shape, or form, but I have not heard anything thus far.
Hey, Roland, we've covered a lot of these here together and independently, and this guy is going against everything that we typically believe in.
Wonder what their
Not
plan is. Yeah,
returning to the
Jimmy,
neighborhood
I
in
don't
which,
know,
they
man.
Originated.
They don't
And,
have a very good one.
Again, not really slowing down because of no police presence. So we did get confirmation, however, no ground units at this point, but we believe that the airship is still overhead in some
Okay.
way, shape, or form.
So it's still a police chase.
Peculiar or to you that he's not returning back to where he originated? That's what we typically see.
Well, not really. We certainly have seen this before, haven't we? Where I think I was on one particular pursuit myself, and my colleague Eliana Moreno has been on a number of them that went from LA County into Ventura County, and just,
Shout out to Eliana
continued
Moreno.
on. At some point, they just went into surveillance mode, and from surveillance mode, just kind of put a bolo out to let other agencies pick it up, and then we got turned around, or our airship got turned around, and it's just really unclear whether or not they were able to pick it up, because at some point here, as we venture into Ventura County, we're going to lose our signal yet again. and not be able to track this pursuit like we want. But yes, I would agree. He has defied by most standards the typical habits
I don't know
that
what's
we
going to happen
normally
if they
see
try to
with a lot of
like
these
slow down
pursuits,
quickly.
going around in circles, going back to the neighborhood that they most know. And so this individual may think that, okay, I might have some loot here in the back of this truck, something worthy of stealing, and so I'm just going to go where I can go and you know, figure out.
Dude, they're just driving straight on a road.
Yeah, and we're seeing that it is a delivery, a furniture delivery box truck of some sort. So we don't know if anything is inside that vehicle or not. We also don't know how much gas this person has in that vehicle. So that is also
Give me
a
the
question,
loot.
you know, that we have, and that could potentially slow
Analytic,
down
what's
this
up?
driver.
Yeah, very, very good question. In fact, I was just about to talk about that. Yeah, we just don't know whether or not this vehicle was making a delivery or picking furniture or supplies up. And we clearly do not know how much fuel or gas that this truck has. But suffice to say that trucks like this probably, I'm not sure if this is a diesel or gasoline powered.
Dimitri,
But,
what's up?
Suffice to say
The loot
that
box
they're
truck.
not necessarily gas efficient, and one would think that at some point that he or she is going to run out of fuel very quickly.
Yeah, Roland, if you can really quickly, you talked about the LAPD and what it's decided to do. When it hits the Ventura County line and Ventura County sheriffs are, you know, it's not within its jurisdiction, mutual aid, they have all the information they need. Will they jump in at this point, or will they perhaps take a page out of the LAPD's book? Your thoughts?
You know, Michael, it's a great question because the practice of police chases and police pursuits, as you know, have been very litigious here in Southern California especially. And police agencies, while they would love to catch every single felon, especially ones that steal trucks and vehicles, that sort of thing, there becomes a risk versus gain type situation where they assess
Yeah,
for
camera in black
themselves,
because I closed it.
Is this a situation where we might be able to pick this vehicle up in another police agency's
I went and got a
jurisdiction?
snack.
Is it a situation that is worthy
Yoshi, what's
of,
up?
Staying right on the heels of this driver, encouraging the driver to go at excessive speeds to try and catch them? It is not an easy decision, but one that ultimately is made by the police supervisor, whether or not they want to take that risk to pursue this vehicle. And clearly for LAPD and other agencies like LA County Sheriff, they've just come to the point where they go through kind of an algorithm, if you will, and assess what you know, what's worth it and what's not worth it. And for a stolen vehicle, to risk this vehicle running into someone, this is a very heavy vehicle on very muddy and now wet, slick roads. This vehicle can cause a lot of damage. And so I can't blame them for assessing the danger potentially that this could render by pulling off of this pursuit.
You know, Roland, and we are getting some information thanks to our assignment desk here, letting us know that the tracking discontinued due to weather, and because the company, and this is where technology really does play a major role in all of this, is able to track the vehicle. So we still don't know where the box truck was stolen from, but we are still awaiting for all of these details. But I mean, technology really is coming in handy here.
Absolutely, and that may have been a factor as well in their determining whether or not they were going to continue this pursuit, because they know at some point they're going to be able to pick up this truck and know its location. And with any luck, and my pilot confirms that the airship from LAPD did clear out quite a while ago. With any luck,
what about the LASD
they'll
one?
be able to continue to track this vehicle and know where it's at, and as soon as
Is
it
there
stops,
any police on this?
then notify a law enforcement agency to hopefully swoop in and take this individual into custody. But
Oh,
right
they're
now,
gonna be.
again, no patrol vehicles behind, no air or air
Okay, so this
assets
is media
overhead.
only chase right
And,
now.
this vehicle just continues northbound on Pacific Coast Highway.
Just the media.
Coming into the Trifuno Canyon area. Still not at the Ventura County line quite yet.
All right, so we continue to track this stolen box truck out of Culver City, now making its way up PCH. And as Roland
Dude,
told us earlier,
this is not going to last much longer.
But Annabelle, you mentioned some of the technologies that the
company.
Trucking company has. I'm sorry, somebody.
Hey,
was
if you're watching this on Twitch right now, you're not following.
Again,
follow.
Being able to track where this
follow
truck
my
is going.
channel.
Exactly, and so yes, LAPD has stopped this pursuit. But
They
again,
definitely have
I
a
mean,
tracker?
That's where technology really does come in handy in something like this. That they don't have to put in danger all of the other drivers, right? That are that may be in.
I mean,
that
I don't think
particular
it's
area
rented. I think
because,
that
the
it's owned,
driver
like
is
it's
not
just like a
seeing
delivery truck
the
that they
vehicles,
use
the
at
police
Lowe's.
Units behind them.
I don't think they rent it to
that is
people.
a good thing because for many, for many of these drivers, they tend to move faster, drive faster when they see police officers behind them.
Okay, so we have Roland's signal back, and it, as we continue to look at this live shot from News Chapter 4, we see, again, the PCH now reduced down to one lane in both directions, and so again, this is the first vehicle that we've seen it leading the truck here in quite a while. For the most part, as Roland mentioned, there was a lot of real estate for that driver to take advantage of. As we show you again, video from earlier today, obviously the weather conditions much different where this video was taken during the early stages of the chase versus where that truck is right now.
Yeah, and we're seeing a lot more rain. Meteorologist David Bigger gave us some information as to, that the farther west this driver went, we were going to see more of that wet weather out there. So more rain, of course, affecting those roads, and this driver really isn't slowing down all that much considering that it's raining.
I don't know how much longer this is going to go.
There.
All right, so again, more video now from earlier during the chase. I believe this is along Pacific Coast Highway. We see speeds there on our tracking system in excess of 70 miles an hour. A little busier during this stretch of PCH, but again, the further west we get, the more rain we see, and of course, the fewer cars we see.
And that is a good thing, is that there weren't that many vehicles on PCH heading northbound on that particular area there. But, truly, the driver
This chase sucks,
was
dude.
seen driving recklessly. We still
I don't know. Is the news
people
station
are
done with it
inside
now
that
or
box
not?
truck that was stolen, reported stolen. We were told that LAPD discontinued tracking or this pursuit because of the weather and because the company is able to track this
Okay,
vehicle.
this is live
We
again?
don't know a whole lot of information about the particular vehicle, where it was stolen from, but we do know it was stolen.
All right, so
Sounds the police aren't even on it.
Bring them on.
There's no police.
And perhaps no, it's still a little shaky that
They aren't going to set up
again,
shit.
Still trying to work out. Again, this box truck stolen out of Culver City. And Annabelle, as you mentioned, we don't know the contents inside. We don't know exactly the originating company, but we have heard from the LAPD, in fact, that they pulled out their ground units, they pulled out their airship, and there is technology which can track this truck. So, as we mentioned
Okay,
earlier
so
with
you
Roland,
can track the truck. They
pretty
know where it's
specific
at.
Type of truck. It won't be hard to locate down the road somewhere.
Exactly.
Okay.
And now we're in Ventura County. So sheriff.
I just don't know what to
be
do.
Involved as well. We
Do
still
I just
don't
give
know
up on
that
this right
for
now?
what the game plan is here. But they are in a different. This driver is in a different jurisdiction now, and that would belong to the sheriff's department. But we don't know if they will be pursuing this vehicle or they're just going to be on the lookout. Again, one of the good things
It looks like the
about
other
this
news
is
stations
that
have moved
the
off of
company
this.
does have a tracking device
They've
on this vehicle.
stopped.
All right, so we continue to show you video shot from earlier today. This is along Pacific Coast Highway in its earlier stages, obviously before the rain. The further west, as David mentioned, our meteorologist David Bigger, the further west this driver goes, the more rain we saw. In fact, that was true. In fact, we saw some pretty slick roads out there.
No, ABC's still on it.
Reestablish
Hold on, it looks like they're live.
Picture. Again, the conditions of fewer cars on.
Yeah,
PCH,
ABC's on it
however, the
live.
conditions, a little
Okay,
more
let's
precarious.
switch.
Yeah, and he was driving down PCH in the Malibu area near Pepperdine University.
It takes your breath
We
away.
saw him go
if
through
this
the
individual does do that, we're going to have a fatality more than likely, and that's just horrible. Innocent people getting killed in a situation like this. I mean, it's certainly a possibility. Unfortunately, we have to talk about that because we've seen it
Snarkaroni,
happen
what's up?
so many times in the past. But you're absolutely right. We're rounding Point Magoo here. You'll see that in just a moment. And,
Point Magoo?
we will be in Ventura.
Snooze, we are fighting. Yeah, dude, it's boring. It's a little better when it's live and we're not watching the replays.
Handle these things differently. So if you
This does seem extremely dangerous.
Into an area up here in the Ventura area into Oxnard, and it'll be a little different situation as far as some of the traffic. It'll be interesting to see if he stays on PCH or actually maybe gets off into some of these residential areas that'll be available to the vehicle, about 5 to 10 miles north of here.
Well, I mean, as we, I'm trying to remember what is, it's pretty much this type of road the rest of the way up into Ventura County, right? I mean, it's
PCH is dangerous.
Going to stay this way, and now
sure looks like it today,
somebody going
for
slower.
sure.
So this is, again, every time this person has been slowed, that's when the unpredictability takes over.
Yeah, well, once you get a little
nice view
north on PCH up into the Oxnard area, then the conditions change a little bit. I mean, once we're past Point Magoo's airspace here, we're going to see that in just a moment. See if they'll get us clearance to go through.
The heck is Point Magoo?
If they have anything active right now. But for the most part, you're right. For the next 10, 12 miles, it's going to be a roadway just like this. But there is a point in time where it does get into a more congested area when you get up into Oxnard.
Yeah, and it looks like he's speeding up to go around some of these cars, because it does look like at times he slows down a little bit. I don't know if you have the mile per hour tracker.
Yeah, we can bring up the real-time speed tracker
but he does speed up to pass some cars, and when you've got a 2-lane highway, that is a precarious situation. I mean, as you mentioned.
Yeah, and there's no one behind him, so there's really, it's not like he's trying to get away from anybody. There's not even a helicopter overhead any longer, and there's no way the driver can see us. We didn't see a passenger when we're not visible, and I don't believe anyone else is. So it's not like he knows the helicopter is following him or there are any patrol cars, but still he's pretty impatient, and when he comes up on a vehicle that isn't traveling fast enough for him, he really starts to speed up and make his way around that individual. A lot of cases we've seen earlier, regardless if it was dangerous and into oncoming traffic or on the shoulder. Right now, though, it looks like the separation is being consistent, and it appears, at least for now, he's content to travel at a pretty slow rate of speed. What's the speed, real-time speed tracker tell us? Yeah, 40 miles an hour or so.
Well, and that's, as Giovanna mentioned, it does calm you.
Do we know what's in the truck? We have no idea.
When he will pass.
We don't know there's anything in the truck.
Distance, but if he's got that left turn lane to go around somebody, that's when he does seem to accelerate. And I think your word was perfect. He gets impatient, and he just wants to get around. So here's another opportunity for him to see that spot and take it. Although going around that corner might be a bit tough.
Yeah, and then there's a decline here and heading into Camarillo, right?
Right.
Give me altitude, if you would.
So Scott is trying to make some altitude so he can get a more clear signal. But to your point, Giovanni, yeah, now it's a matter of if the speeds become unmanageable for this person as they're trying to drive, but at least they've got 2 lanes here. And so there for a moment, it's just that area, there's always seeming to be some construction going on there. As you head up into the Ventura area, it can get down to 2 lanes. You worry about people who are working. And then the conditions themselves
what is that
are
shot?
not good for driving in the best of it. But it's rainy and messy.
It is raining, and as he moves into Ventura, there'll be more rain. And I was talking about that decline in Camarillo into Camarillo. That's a pretty steep decline, and we don't know how much control he has of that vehicle.
With that, and especially if it's empty, if it's an empty vehicle. This is the video of earlier, and this is one of the reasons why they went to tracking mode. The person drove into oncoming traffic. You'll notice, see how everybody had to back up to get out of the way to avoid.
How much gas is left, right?
He did clip someone. So if this, and then by the way, there was a lot of anxiousness immediately after this section because the person would drive into the turn lane for upwards of a mile.
That's right.
And just put a lot of people at risk.
As we see there, he's in the middle lane there and actually drove against traffic for a little bit as well. And his speeds have been a little bit erratic.
Okay, we back.
Mostly moderate rates of speed, but he has picked up.
And this is the section that you were talking about. But the when he went into the oncoming traffic or into the turn lane and then came upon the end of that turn lane and nearly had to hit the pylons in the middle.
That's right.
He was coming over, and that's when the people around him were all at risk. But I think Scott Reif is back now as we're in Camarillo with this, and the speeds could pick
A bulk
up,
order, a denture
on
adhesive.
A decline here, Scott.
Yeah, the speeds haven't changed too much, and now we're on a stretch of PCH through Camarillo. As I mentioned earlier, we're at Point Mugu Air Base, basically just traveling right over there or through their extended centerline. And it'll continue to look just like this for about another 5 to 7 miles. And then PCH sort of changes a little bit as far as the congestion or the area that you travel through. But right now, there's a big center median, so we don't quite have the danger we had when PCH was down to just 3 lanes, 2 southbound and 1 north. Or the opposite, and I think as far as the danger of him hitting oncoming traffic, that has dissipated just a bit. We'll bring up the real-time speed tracker once again. I would imagine the speed limit here is 65, and so you can tell he's traveling a little faster than the speed limit, but not excessive rates of speed. At least we haven't seen that, and there's little to no volume on this entire stretch of PCH all the way up into Oxnard, from what I can tell. There's a lot of cloud cover up ahead. You're going to see us lose.
Well, that car's flying.
Shot, not our signal. We're high enough now. We shouldn't have a problem, but you're going to see these clouds in just a moment that will obscure the vehicle from time to time. But there are a lot of offshoots.
NBC is back on it as well.
Malibu, you know, you really couldn't get off on too many streets, or else if you went off the wrong street, you were going to be into a dead end if you didn't get off on something major like Malibu or Canaan. But now there's a lot of offshoots if the suspect decides to get off of PCH.
Yo,
And
Mr. Wiggly.
there's 2 lanes in both directions, and fortunately there's not a lot of volume.
Welcome.
We're also starting to see the speed in comparison to traffic.
We are 41 minutes into this chase
And then this truck here is going about the same
on the
speed,
Pacific
so
Coast
at
Highway.
72 miles an hour. He's not the driver of the box truck.
Thank you
is
for
not the
subscribing for
fastest vehicle on the
54
road
months.
Right now, you're in highway traffic.
And
That's
the
a lot of
question now
months.
Also, as he moves into Ventura, is what will Ventura County sheriffs do? How they will handle this situation?
Scott, have you seen any change, or have you seen any?
Don't see any cop cars. No, Snark. The cop cars are gone. They don't even have the cop. There's no police on this at all. None. It's just a media chase.
Well, it's interesting. There's no helicopter that I'm aware of overhead. We're in Ventura County now, so it'll be interesting to see how they handle it.
I'm surprised the news is staying on it this long. Like, I don't know. I don't even know why.
Yeah, I don't know, a quarter mile behind.
They don't usually do it this long if it's not exciting. You know? Like, usually if there's nothing really going on in the chase and the police give up, eventually the news gives up.
Clouds, some low-level clouds. So from time to time, we're going to lose the vehicle, but the vehicle will come back in.
Slow news day. Is it, though? I mean, it's like election day, right? Or yesterday was? I don't know. They're doing elections. So we had a chase last night, Snark, and they interrupted the chase to talk about some dude named Steve.
And that's a CHP. It's not Ventura County Sheriff, so it's CHP. And it'll be interesting to see, you know, just how they handle this as we come up into this area of Ventura County. And there's the clouds we were talking about. Fortunately, we can descend quite a bit now and still get our signal because of where we're at. At least I hope so, and we're trying, but you get an idea what we're dealing with as far as the weather conditions. It is very wet now. I certainly wouldn't call it a hard rain, but you could tell how slick the conditions are. And now we're coming up into that area where, you know, we're going to start to cross over, and we're going to head up into Oxnard, and then that's that area I talked about where PCH does go through an
Steve
area
Garvey,
with a little
yeah.
more congestion. And now there are 4 units behind him, so it looks like they may engage. They may engage this suspect as we continue north. We're still in Camarillo. Got a ways to go before we're in Oxnard. But they may re-engage.
I don't know shit about Steve Garvey other than they interrupted a police chase to talk about him, so fuck that guy.
Bottom of your screen there. They actually stopped at the intersection, so go back into the truck.
That's all I need to know.
They're staying back and not letting the suspect see them. So at this point in time, they really have not re-engaged, but it looks like they're ready to if they decide to. And go ahead, Marcel, and tilt
What
up
is
with
going
the camera.
on out
And
here?
this will give you an idea of what's up ahead. You know, we talked about this a little bit. There's going to be a little more
These are just
congestion
farms?
on PCH as you head up towards the 101 freeway. And so as we head through there, we're going to see
Former Dodger
stoplights.
asshole.
We're
Okay.
going to see possibly more pedestrian
Fuck
traffic.
that dude.
And the risk is going to get higher once again now. It'll be interesting to see what the demeanor of the suspect is and just how desperate he is if he comes up on an intersection
that
up
guy.
ahead where we have a red light. And that looks like that may happen here in just a moment.
Okay, Scott, we're going to wrap up coverage of this on the linear portion, ABC 7, and return our viewers to regular programming. But we are going to continue this chase on our streaming, ABC 7 LA streaming app. So if you'd like to continue to watch this, you can join us on our streaming platform. And right now, we're going to return you to regular schedule of programming, along with Giovanna Lara, Scott Reif, and Philip Palmer. Thank you for this special coverage of this chase that is now into Ventura.
Whoa!
We gotta do. I'm just going to ask one more time if we want to stay with this for a moment, or if we're going to still break away. We're going to keep with this just for a second, Scott, because now this is becoming
traffic.
This got intense all of a sudden.
This is the behavior that was happening earlier, and it's just come right back. So we are going to stay with this now. We have officers that have engaged right behind, and the suspect now that has met traffic resistance has taken a much more aggressive measure, Scott.
Yeah, what they need to do, hear me out here, what they need to do is call somebody who works for Lowe's, right? Get somebody from Lowe's on the, wait, does my YouTube chat just die? There's people over on YouTube and I haven't seen anything they've said in like 20 minutes or something. I don't know.
Much faster
Look.
than he was driving before. And there's a lot of, we're coming up, we're still in Camarillo. We're about a mile south of the 101 freeway headed northbound on PCH.
They need to call somebody from Lowe's. And they need to say, hey, can you tell us more about this box truck? What type of tracking does it have on it? What is the gas mileage? Tell us all about this truck, right? That's what we need.
To give you an idea just how far behind they are, keep going to the left if you would with the camera. Just let him come out of the screen for a moment. The patrol car is going to go in right there. So there's 4 of them. You go back to the truck now. There's 4 CHP units behind the truck, and the truck does appear to be accelerating.
Shinji said,
there's a good chance he sees them now in the side mirror.
Have faith.
And
all right.
Deciding he's going to drive faster, and I think that's really
Here, you're testing. All right. Sometimes I have a problem. I can see you guys now. I had to refresh.
To encourage this individual in that truck, and that heavy truck, to
Tracker may actually tell fuel level.
Nature. Now, if he stays in the right lane, he's going to get on the 101 freeway, traveling southbound. That'll be a turn onto the 101 freeway.
This guy is dumb as hell, Eddie.
Like that is going to be the case. So CHP
okay, now
will
what?
likely engage on the freeway.
Yo.
I believe they're going to do that now. It'll be interesting to see.
Okay, now we're going to get the CHP involved. Okay, this just took a turn, literally and figuratively.
And looks like he's headed back.
There's the police.
Towards, Los Angeles. So
It's of Chase again.
South, through Camarillo, and then, of course, Thousand Oaks.
Going south back to LA. All right, guys.
But on the freeway now.
All right, we're going to run the prediction then.
Yeah,
will this last for an hour?
An hour, right? Because you said we picked it up at 11:30.
I was supposed to start work in like
law enforcement
9 minutes.
before we picked it up. So
whatever.
An hour now.
Yeah, about that. Maybe even a little bit, a little bit longer, more than an hour. The speeds here, though, we talked about the weight of that vehicle. We don't know if it's full, but, that's a big truck regardless.
All right, the prediction is up on Twitch.
Vehicle. If he's involved in an incident at speed, it's not going to be pretty.
That's right. You're right.
Traffic up ahead on the
Thank you,
101
Danger.
is very light. The rain
That's
is
true.
dissipated for the moment. It's not as heavy as it was in Malibu. And it looks like on the 101 North, I don't see any. I can see
did it just accidentally? Did you actually do that twice? I don't know why it told me that twice.
He's on 101 South, isn't he? Is he on 101 South?
He's 101 South.
The 101 freeway southbound.
Yeah.
He's headed southbound on the 101 headed towards Los Angeles.
Hope one day this can be my job. Yeah, hopefully. Man, the thing is, Eddie, if this happened every day, it probably could be my job.
I will have to break away from this pursuit probably in the next 10 minutes or so. We're keeping an eye on the fuel. And then I think we have our other helicopter, newscopter, that will take over with the coverage.
Okay, they're going to bring in the other chopper.
The speeds aren't really excessive. CHP has backed off. They have 4 units behind him in the right lane, but far enough behind him that I don't think that he actually sees them. I think it's going to be a little more difficult for the suspect to see those patrol cars in the far right lane, quarter mile back, than if they were in the left lane.
They were pretty close behind him when he was getting on the highway, though.
And so at this point,
how is this stolen, Snark? We don't know. That information, we have very little information here.
It looks like he's able to stay in his lane, push in tight. We haven't seen a lot of that swerving, Philip, that we saw earlier. Maybe a little bit, but not excessive. He's still able to stay within the lines in his lane. But boy, it was pretty sketchy there on PCH when he was doing a little swerving, possibly into oncoming traffic. And then, of course, we know how desperate the suspect is to get away when he just would not stop in Santa Monica and went into oncoming traffic, hit another vehicle, but again at a slow rate of speed, and no one was hurt. Yeah. And we certainly hope how this one ends. You know, we cover enough of these things, and it's just so dangerous for the public. I think the strategy is a great one, though, to be honest with you. I think it's much better that they back off.
Surprised it ain't a U-Haul. Yeah,
mashed. Right behind a suspect that they know
this time it's Lowe's.
And have him drive at a more erratic pace, because right now he's basically just driving the speed limit.
If they would hire you as the helicopter commentator, would you take the job? I don't know.
The CHP showed up for CHP patrol cars.
I'd have to talk about, like, they don't do chases all that much compared to flying around.
Yeah, you know,
talking about weather and traffic and weather.
He started to drive more erratically, and they backed off, but they're not behind him at all now. I can't see him at my window. So at this point in time, you know, they've got him tracked. They're making radio calls. They're they're getting the other units in the area aware of what's going on, so that if he gets off on one of the surface streets, they can be prepared. You know, Ventura County Sheriff, they're going to be patrolling this area, so they're aware of what's going on as well. And, you know, at some point in time,
being in a news chopper, dangerous work for sure.
He's going to run out of
Good
gas.
point.
And I really believe, like I mentioned earlier, that more than likely there's a tracker on that vehicle. It's just so many delivery trucks have trackers now. It's sort of unusual for one not to. And that could be one of the reasons they're not, they don't have an air unit overhead.
Sounds like we're good.
Scott,
we are,
just
Tim.
As a measure of housekeeping, we know that at some point within the next 10 minutes, you're going to have to go refuel. We will continue to follow this, but
apparently they're going to have another helicopter swoop in.
We're in the middle of GMA3, what you need to know, and we're going to stick with this probably another 5 minutes or so. Then we're going to let Scott go. Then we'll resume this on. Oh, actually, it'll be even sooner than that. Okay, so Scott has gone. So Scott. Thank you for safe travels to go to Van Nuys and refuel. And now we are with Newscopter, and we'll continue to follow this along with Giovanna Lara. But we'll stay here on ABC7 for another few minutes, and then we'll resume programming.
What's going on?
In
just a few moments.
And if you're wondering what we're following, the pursuit of this Lowe's box truck. For about an hour now, we started to follow it at around 11:30. We spotted it, or we got word of a pursuit.
Jerry, what's up?
The box truck was on the westbound 10 freeway near the 405. We know it is a stolen truck.
Stu not covering this now. I think he was at one point.
Although we do believe the driver is alone in that vehicle, and we don't.
I don't know about now.
The content of the truck.
But I'm pretty sure Fox was alive at one point.
Some of the recorded images of when this person was driving into oncoming traffic there on PCH.
Yeah, Fox is still on it. Let's
whenever law enforcement got close enough to that driver that the driver knew they were there.
I like this video better if they'd stick with it.
To get away. Throughout, the driver had been best described as
we'll
impatient.
switch.
If anyone was in his way, he was willing at any point to drive into oncoming traffic. But just as we were about to break away at Ventura,
maybe that was a bad idea.
When the person nearly ran into a pickup truck, drove into a turn
bad
lane,
idea.
and then through an intersection to try to
they went
get
offline
CHP
just as soon as I did
which
that.
had just resumed. That's what you're looking at on the right. On the left is Air 7 HD, another helicopter. We don't have a reporter in that helicopter, so we'll just kind of describe what we see. But we've just kind of logistically made a bit of a change as we're about to wrap this up on ABC7.
Yes, and now he is heading on the 101 southbound.
Thank you, Tim. Yeah, everybody on YouTube, hit the thumbs up.
Around the 10 and the 405, and
it's free. It's easy.
All the way beyond Camarillo, I believe. Turned around and got back on the 101 south.
Which is somewhat interesting, and to be on that narrow lane that is PCH and such a dangerous road. And then turning around and going right back where you came.
I might need to go get my other computer real quick.
The person wants to get back into familiar territory. If you're trying to get away from police, you're not going to want to just turn around on PCH because you'd have to stop to do that. So maybe this person knows the area well enough that the plan all along was to get on the 101 and get headed back in the other direction, especially if they don't believe they're being followed at this point, because law enforcement is so far behind.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to go get my other computer. I got to start working.
It never makes any sense to us watching because we believe, and as it often happens, they are caught. And Scott mentioned the possibility that there's a tracker on this truck, and maybe that is one of the reasons also that law enforcement have chosen to sort of pull back. Also, to your point, he does seem to act up aggressively when they gain up on him, so maybe that's another reason too. But even though the speeds aren't super high, we've seen faster pursuits. The fact that he's in this heavy heavy truck, and it looks like an older truck too, so we don't know the condition of the vehicle. That makes it more dangerous, despite the moderate speeds.
We can't really get into the mind of the person or necessarily how the person came to the vehicle, but it does strike me as a very high possibility that this person just grabbed one of these vehicles from Lowe's and took off. You can rent these vehicles all the time. They're sitting in the parking lots, and in many cases, the Home Depots and Lowe's are having a lot of theft. So who knows what this is? It also could be somebody's property. They were simply moving, and the person jumped in the vehicle and drove away. We don't know how they got it. We just know it was stolen. Right. We are a few seconds away from wrapping up this on ABC7. We're going to rejoin GMA3, What You Need to Know. But if you'd like to continue to watch this pursuit, you can on our streaming platforms. I'm Philip Palmer, along with Giovanna Lara.
And we continue to follow the pursuit of this stolen truck.
Okay, if they go away from this, we'll just we'll switch over to their YouTube feed. They're also doing the chase on YouTube.
Where he is at this point, but
so if we got to do that, we'll do that.
And again, this is a stolen truck.
I've got
this is
that.
Vehicles on the 101
Wait.
And the chase is what we understand. A single driver in the vehicle, as far as
yeah,
we
okay.
know.
This is the best look we've had of this person.
We've got to back up.
It's a male driver. We haven't.
Okay, we actually get to take a look at the guy now.
But that right there is one of the reasons I also think that sometimes he drives somewhat erratically. Is he's looking around in the cab, he's reaching across the way, and I just think sometimes he just keeps a straight line instead of following and staying in lanes, because he's just simply driving without concern for anybody around him.
And it's hard to drive these large vehicles. It really is. I mean, you have to have a lot of experience to be able to maneuver them and know where to look and how to see where the other cars are around it.
Oh, the blind spots are remarkable.
Yeah. Exactly. So he's going about just under 50 miles an hour right now, but we have seen some very aggressive driving from this.
You can rent. I don't think they rented it, right?
Clipping a vehicle, nothing
Did
serious,
they?
no one was hurt, but he is determined to.
Did they say that?
And I think, you bring up a great point about the lack of being able to see.
I think he stole it from an employee. That was my impression.
Like this person was thinking about getting off on the exit. But whenever this guy was getting in congested traffic, you're not going to know if somebody is right there to your right. The left side, you
still raining in the desert,
them,
yeah.
but not on the right. And so when he was just driving, I think those were the moments where it just didn't
It's a tweaker, Wilfred said.
If anybody was there or not. He couldn't see them probably, and he didn't really care. So when he would go to the left, there's a chances that he could see what was there a little better. But what's interesting about this right now is, again, it's just freeway speeds, and there are
a stolen rental. Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Than this person, and so we've seen cars right now. This little minivan is driving faster and going to pass. So it's not so much the speed, but the impatience and the recklessness and the willingness to do whatever to continue moving forward for this truck that I think is the fear.
That's right. And we have seen evidence of law enforcement in pursuit initially, and then, as we've been saying, they pulled back, and then all through the northern part of PCH, no one was following him. There was no evidence of any patrol vehicles. That would be through sort of the LA County Sheriff's.
Well, I have a meeting in 2 hours, so
but then when he moved into
hopefully this isn't going on for 2 more hours. If it is, it's okay. We'll figure it out.
Catch up with him, but then again, we saw some more aggressive driving from the suspect, and they pulled back.
Well, and that was, I think, if those 4 officers, or one, it started as 1 and then all of a sudden there were 4, but if they all of a sudden decided, hey, now may be a chance.
Oh, Vic, what's up?
Proof, or they got more evidence that what LAPD and what the sheriff had decided to do was the best course of action, because as soon as that move was made that we saw on videotape just a moment ago of the driving through Ventura County right in that Camarillo area, that was proof that, hey,
you can only rent pickup trucks.
Very aware that he doesn't want to be caught.
Exactly. And we have Bruce Thomas on the line, law enforcement expert. Thank you so much for talking with us. Can you shed some
Tell him I'm already in a meeting
on the strategy on the law enforcement side in this case?
Yeah, in this case, you're dealing with a vehicle that has substantial weight and size. So some of the typical things you may want to do down the road, like a pit maneuver, are probably out the window. Your best course of action would be a spike strip on this type of vehicle.
Well, and even that is somewhat difficult, isn't it, Bruce, because of the rate of speed? I mean, how you can't put officers at risk, and this vehicle is
box truck party
significant in size, and you know you're gonna it could
Mr. Tire versus Sleep Number versus Lowe's.
If you all of a sudden lost air pressure, I mean, there's risk involved in that as well. Yeah.
That's correct, Phil.
Who has the best box truck?
The spike strip will deploy what we'll call little pitons inside the tire, which lets the air out very, very slowly. It seems like CHP or Ventura County Sheriffs, it may have a strategy of let's try to slow traffic behind it, create an operation.
It's the Sleep Number truck, right?
To follow, or maybe do some intervention with this truck.
Wow, oh shit!
Look at this.
Oh!
He ran into another.
Yo, Mr. Tire truck.
Oh, he was absolutely looking at the vehicle as he.
Oh, Mr. Tire.
Does that box truck pull over, or does he try to re-engage?
Prediction made out. Thank you.
Concern there, because now look, the box truck.
Should we run a 75-minute one?
Pursuing the suspect vehicle.
So hold on, let me do it.
How does that change things for CHP? You can't have a road rage incident.
Or did you already do it?
To a chase.
Yeah, that was very interesting that he hit the other box truck. And the box truck may be under the impression of, hey, I'm going to follow this guy, get information.
Okay, we got a new one up.
Right.
So CHP is going to have to intervene and pull that other
Wait, are they both?
Over.
Wait.
Yeah, because they have no idea.
Okay.
There's no police around.
New prediction up.
So the second vehicle
New
has
prediction
no
up.
idea that this is a pursuit suspect, and by the way, doesn't know if the person's armed, doesn't know if the person's dangerous, doesn't know if that truck has been
Mr. Tire, man, here he comes.
Up, and we've got to see
he's got his phone out.
Yeah, ideally.
Let's go. Box truck wars.
911. They'll give you the proper information and dictate what you should do.
And now box truck
You lose, Mr. Tire.
Is this the Thousand Oaks?
But look quickly, this person's coming up on an intersection here, and we don't know.
He just got off the highway.
Play this, driving through the intersection, passing on the right, all the while. Now this box truck, see if he tries to take an exit and get over there with him.
This is the best part of the
keep
chase
going
so
back to
far.
The person in this, Mr. Tire
We're over
truck
an hour
thinks that
in, and
he's
this is
gotta
the
get
most
run on his
entertaining
hands.
part by far.
And so now, look, he might try to stop him. If he gets in front of the suspect vehicle behind, if he tries to slow down, again,
Fuck him up,
creating
Mr. Tire.
more danger
Fuck
for
him
the
up.
people around.
Oh!
Gosh, wow, another.
This is why you just don't do this,
He
because
is trying to stop him.
Absolutely. And now look at this, and where is CHP going, Bruce? What is CHP thinking?
Look at this.
CHP is trying to intervene as quickly as they can, because this Mr. Tire truck is taking positive action. You know, boxing and slowing them down.
But I keep looking at all of the people on the highway right now, watching this occur, not realizing what's going on. And the Mr. Tire truck, again, he thinks he's trying to stop a hit-and-run vehicle, but the person could be armed in that vehicle because it was stolen. We don't know how it was stolen. And then for the person in the second box truck to be rear-ended.
I know, I said this was
point,
boring,
even
and
if
it
you
got
thought you were just
exciting
getting information,
instantly.
You can't re-engage, right, Bruce? I mean, at some point, you have to understand life and property are at risk here.
He brake checked him.
What can the CHP do about this? I mean,
Mr. Tire has let his adrenaline take over. Whoa.
Don't want to intervene and put yourself in a position of risking your life or other people's lives. It's a hit and run. Pull out of the side of the road. He doesn't know CHP is there, but they will.
Mr. Tire is a dipshit,
sir. As far as all the legal paperwork and everything. Let CHP do their job. The other thing, and Giovanna, if you could repeat your question.
My question is, what can you do about this situation as a CHP officer following these two guys?
Well, they got to pull over the Mr. Tire truck.
They got to pull over the Mr. Tire truck.
Yes, the Phillips point is they've got to get that other truck out of the problem because they can't do anything legally or lawfully and safely until you get that other
This guy engaged him out of nowhere. No, the Lowe's truck hit him. The Lowe's truck swiped him. And then the Mr. Tire truck got mad because he got his truck got fucked up.
If one of them flips, if one of them is
basically the Mr. Tire guy is like, "What the fuck? You did a hit and run on me."
Harm to other people. Look at
my
this.
Goodness, he is intent on getting that box truck.
At some point, CHP's got to catch up to Mr. Tire and pull him over to let him know what's going on, right?
Yeah, now he's intervening. CHP has got to get there and solve this issue.
Well, CHP is following the suspect vehicle.
Okay.
Mr. Tire has now pulled over.
Mr. Tire is just like watching.
But I'm sure CHP will be
okay, it's over between Mr. Tire and the Lowe's truck. It's over.
Windsor.
That was epic, though. That was so funny.
Has definitely pulled off the freeway. I guess
that
he
was
just
so
decided
funny.
He didn't want to deal with that other box truck anymore.
Yeah, he's just like, fuck that guy.
Him to pull up on that. That's the suspect vehicle there.
Yeah, keep following him, please.
On the highway.
Yeah, the main point to both of your points is don't get involved.
Yes. No.
Mr. Tire will be back. I hope so, 3D. I hope so.
Are hearing that too.
That was super epic.
You don't want to engage in a road rage situation for sure. And we don't know if the
Mr. Tire road raged him. Yeah. Look, you'll see it. You'll see it right here. They're going to show the swipe.
Who knows? Well, we saw him try to get this truck to stop.
Well, 911 would tell you immediately to pull back.
Just hit him, and then Mr. Tire guy was like, "No, fuck that."
Mr. Tire and another box
he don't
truck
play
were
that.
Simply driving along. I believe as anyone, somebody hits you, rips off your front bumper, and then keeps going. You're
Mr.
Going to
Tire was the
maybe
main
get a license
character.
plate or something.
I wish they'd stop showing the replay now. That was really funny, but it's okay. It's over.
Going through an
it's
intersection, shown recklessness on the freeway, the engagement with another box truck. It's been
the box truck wars.
An aggressively violent, rageful act between these two guys. And then now you've got this box truck that has left the highway, probably wanting to get away from the other box truck who was just absolutely engaging with him, but continues to try to get away. So, Bill, do we just resume where we were 15 minutes ago, where they pull back and they kind of let this play out again? Or does what happened
Unbelievable. Big Merle, what's up?
Well, I think, he seems to be in some sort of residential area. And
that was good promotion for Mr. Tire. I think it was.
So, could you deploy
Mr. Tire?
You can get ahead of this
man.
vehicle. Yes, you can. I think the more prudent thing is to be with the weather, also a little bit of rain in that area, is pull back, go into surveillance mode, have areas flood the area where he is basically going to have the terminus of this pursuit, and then take him in the country.
The Mr. Tire marketing team sitting here in shock. Dylan.
We were talking to Scott Reif earlier. He mentioned a lot of these trucks
Pedro, what's up?
Trackers on them. Can you talk a little bit about that? And if it does have a tracker,
this is crazy. What happened now? What's going on over here?
Catch up with him later?
Okay, there he is.
Is that possible?
Yeah, a lot of these type vehicles.
The brake check from Mr. Tire.
Low jack or teletrack type issues, so their dispatch can track them.
Oh, Lowe's lets you track them if you have a delivery out. Okay. So whoever was supposed to get a delivery today has been tracking this shit forever. Like, when is my delivery showing up? And then they turn on the TV and they see that their washer or whatever is in the back suddenly just got into a high-speed collision with a Mr. Tire truck.
On the left, the person pulled right out into
Mr. Peggy Hill, welcome.
So it's not as if this guy has suddenly begun driving safely. There's still some impatience and aggressiveness that you're seeing right there, passing a truck in the turn lane into what
This
could
is
be
crazy.
oncoming traffic, and now approaching another intersection in that turn lane. We're going to see if this person is going to just go straight. They did. So again, using the turn lane. Why into oncoming traffic there?
Doesn't need to.
Again, this is such a danger for people who have no idea what's going on, and all of a sudden they're staring at the grill of a box truck.
Yeah, this guy is definitely shown a wanton disregard.
Customers pissed their washers late for sure.
And you know, we talk about the speeds in this circumstance. It's not horrible, but it's still 50 roughly miles an hour in areas that are probably 35, and you're driving one of these big trucks and certainly not making a stop there at the red light.
Man, I wonder what Mr. Tire Guy's doing right now.
I'm not positive if this takes this person back in the direction of the freeway. They may want to.
I wonder what's going on with him. Did the police engage with him? Is he just going to be left in the dark? He's just going to be like, what the fuck happened today? You would have thought that when he was on his phone, he would have probably called. Right?
You go through the neighborhoods, and now you get
getting fired. Yeah, Snark probably getting fired.
Maybe that's where
probably.
Yeah, we saw the freeway in the wider image from the helicopter a moment ago, and I think it's right on the other side of this intersection. So we'll see if he's going to head south. If it's the same freeway, there it is. Oh, no, I guess there's no on-ramp there. So.
But he turned left in front of all of those vehicles in that intersection, so he probably saw the freeway, but as you mentioned, didn't.
He'll never know.
Not an on-ramp right there.
Definitely a great chase. After that, I think it is.
Maybe the right turn there will take you.
Mr. Tire's freaking out.
But again, even that simple move.
Dude, he's getting back on. What if he reunites with Mr. Tire?
And turned left in front of vehicles, and now
creates best free ad, gets fired. Yeah.
Not sure if it's south or north.
It is. We're trying to figure that one out. My guess is
oh, he's Mr. Unemployed.
Just because that was the direction the person was going in the first place, which would mean he might come back up on Mr. Tire again.
So Bruce, what your
thoughts? No, it's northbound. My apologies. It does say 101 northbound.
Northbound. Yeah. So Bruce, bringing you back into this, this is perplexing. Like, how do you handle this?
Yeah, you know, going back to what Philip said, this is a good-sized truck. It's got some weight to it. It may be loaded fully with cargo and appliances or whatever. So that creates another problem.
It's so dumb, dude.
But in this case, you just got to kind of follow the vehicle. I think if you get right up on it, and this person knows they're being chased, obviously, you may create a dangerous situation more than what we've seen.
Well, we keep running the video there on the right of the interaction between these two box trucks when the Lowe's vehicle, which is the suspect vehicle, sideswiped.
Man, LA is fucking stupid. It's so dumb.
In their day-to-day work, and then that person reacted over the course of about 2 or 3 minutes of some very dangerous activity between the two. Still just trying to get the Lowe's person to stop, but because the Lowe's person is being chased by police, he was willing to ram the Mr. Tire truck from behind. He was willing to sideswipe them and continue to go. It was a really dangerous scenario for Mr. Tire truck. And I don't even think he realized how dangerous it was, because this vehicle is stolen and has been trying to get away from police for the better part of an hour and a half now.
Likely completely.
This will be on the local. Yeah, definitely.
When he was hit by that box truck.
And it's understandable. I mean, it is understandable to be that upset.
Is the Mr. Tire keep these?
Bruce, I mean, this was an unprovoked act.
Mr. Tire owns the roads.
Stop and do the right thing. So
that was so ridiculous. So ridiculous.
It might even be his business. But Bruce, I mean, it's hard. I mean, in hindsight, yes,
it was just
I'm sure you
way
think,
too ridiculous.
Okay, yes, I should have done that differently. But in the moment, I don't think that the person's actions.
California's nuts, yes, Stephen.
Except when it got more dangerous to people all around.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like he has a license plate on that.
Not anymore. No. Remember, there was a whole lot going on.
Yeah, that's true.
But Bruce, when you talk about the unjustified actions?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're upset. You're frustrated. You're like, hey, this guy just hit me. I'm not going to let them get away with that, even though you don't know the other part of the circumstances of this incident. But, you know, we tell people, don't get involved. Discretion is the better part of valor. Pull to the side of the road.
Discretion is the better part of valor? Is that what he said?
What are there charges that someone could be facing in that circumstance? Maybe we can help our viewers with that as well. If you find yourself in something similar to this, because this can happen again within the next 5 minutes. What happens to a person who acts in that manner? Is it usually a slap on the wrist or a ticket
they get
or
fired?
Say, hey, don't do that again?
You know, it elevates itself. You have a hit and run misdemeanor, meaning you have now been involved in an accident and you have not pulled over and exchanged information with the other driver. So that's one charge.
Does that count as Good Samaritan? Maybe it does.
The other charge too. If
that's a good question.
Tire truck was hurt and or injured.
Does that count as a Good Samaritan?
That Mr. Tire might face.
Yeah.
Not that,
it's a good question, man. That's right on the line, I think.
For somebody who had that happen to them,
it's definitely civilian interaction. Yeah, definitely civilian interaction.
You tell people don't
definitely
do that.
Traffic collision.
Yeah, I mean, are they reasonable? Yes and no. Are you frustrated? Yes. Are you upset? Yes. How dare you hit me and then drive away? But I don't think anybody would look to charge him with anything.
Okay.
Obviously, he'd get a very stern warning from CHP or Ventura County SO. Yeah.
I mean, I understand following
Mr.
him,
Lowe's is at
I
fault,
don't think
yeah.
that I would get in front of him and try to stop that big truck. That might not have been the wisest thing to do. And certainly not anything we recommend.
Man, their lens is messed up. They need like a windshield wiper on it.
We keep talking around this over and over again. This guy keeps going. He's just nothing stopping him, and it appears like it is getting rainier.
You think it does count as Good Samaritan? All right, fuck it, whatever.
Northbound.
And I'm not sure how our signal is going to be affected.
Yeah, this is tough.
But again, we've been following this since about 11:30 on ABC7, and then now we are on our streaming channel. And when we went to the stream, that's when things took a turn. There were plenty of opportunities.
I don't know if people in SoCal know how to drive in the rain. It's a good question.
Outcomes during our broadcast on ABC7 when this person was driving in and out of
Mr.
traffic.
Tire just has balls of
stream,
steel.
and he ran into that box truck. But that's, again, it's almost exactly what we had seen elsewhere. He was driving along. He went to change lanes, and either he couldn't see the box truck or he didn't know what he was doing, but he just didn't care and ran into somebody
Did not
who was
care.
just minding their own business. And then that person, everything started to escalate there for a moment. And that's many times the dangers of these chases is, especially in surveillance mode, the people don't realize there's a chase going on right now. They don't realize what this person has done because they see no police officers. They see no law enforcement. And so they don't know to pull over. And then this person just sideswipes them. And everything changes.
Right. That seems to have been an accident, right? When he sort of clipped that other box truck. But you were talking about when we went from the stream, when we started this, we were going from our linear coverage to the stream.
We don't have any idea what happened to Mr. Tire.
I realized that those CHP vehicles were behind him. Every time law enforcement has made their presence known,
he's gone.
Ratchets up the
he probably had to stop and get gas or call his employer.
And the dangerous driving.
He had to call and explain what the fuck happened, and then his employer's like, "I know, dumbass, it's on the news. You were just on the news, you fucking idiot."
Probably taking a look at this, although we didn't see any law enforcement from Ventura. We did see, that's when the CHP, as what Giovanna was just mentioning, joined. So you've had multiple agencies, and for the most part, everybody has taken the same tact, which is track the vehicle. But how do things change for all of these agencies based off of what we just saw between the two box trucks? Because I still don't see any CHP.
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple of things going on here. One, the unpredictability of the driver, and we've seen that. Trying to pass a vehicle, ramming a vehicle, getting off the freeway, getting on the freeway, totally unpredictable. The law enforcement seems to be in a tracking mode as the weather is deteriorating with rain. Police helicopters that normally would be able to follow with low-lying clouds and fog, they may not be able to. So in this case, it's going to be a kind of wait-and-see game. Maybe you can get some
prediction paid out. Oh, yeah, thank you.
Because it is on the freeway.
Let me start another one.
But I don't think they're going to actively engage at this speed.
Yeah, and you said earlier.
Everyone said no. Everyone said no. You got to be kidding me, guys.
But with the rain.
All right, now it's up 90 minutes.
Well, the nice thing about
90 minutes. Will this chase last for 90 minutes?
Deployed and the little metal, I'll call them like straws.
That means it's got to go for another 12
into the
minutes.
Tire. It lets the air out very, very slowly. So it's almost like a controlled stop.
I feel like this shit's never going to end at this point.
Vehicles run on rims for a long period of time with no rubber. So it's not a.
Is that a record? No,
no. It's not the solution for everything.
Well, and if you look at this box truck, it's got 4 wheels on the back, if I'm looking at that correctly. So
in 2020, I had like a stream that was over 6 hours watching the chase.
Is it 2 there on the back? I can't. I thought it was, but yeah, it does look like there's 2 on the back and 4 on the back. So
Okay, so there's 6 tires on this vehicle.
You get the front, okay, but you're going to have to deflate upwards of 6 tires if you really want to.
He's going to run out of gas. You would think so,
Yeah,
Snark. You would think so.
Is, to deploy the spike strip, you have to have a safe operational area, not just for the deployment.
What did they do for 6 hours? Astro, it was so absurd. It was so ridiculous.
I was thinking about earlier.
All they did was drive straight. They just drove straight for 6 hours. Swear to God.
Safely and watch. It usually is done.
And after a certain point, they didn't have any tires. So they were just like moving at like, 2 miles an hour. Just like literally the car was crawling along the freeway with like the entire freeway shut down and just this car just barely moving. For like 3 hours, it was just like that too. I swear. It was so stupid.
Toward Ventura County, heading up toward Santa Barbara, Oxnard.
It just kept going and going and going. It's like, how is this car still moving?
Give this up.
No tires.
Watch on the on and off ramps as this vehicle goes by.
Well, Bruce, here's what we're going to do very quickly. The stream is going to continue with this. Giovanna and I are going to pause. We have some work that we have to do on ABC 7, but then we will rejoin you and we'll continue to follow this.
Okay, we may have to switch over to the
here for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then we will rejoin the chase. But the picture here on our stream will continue as authorities monitor this box truck, which was reported.
It went black on the YouTube stream just now, so I hope that doesn't happen here. YouTube stream is black. Okay, we're still good. All right, let's go. What is the high-pitched noise? It's the helicopter blades. Thank you for following. Yo, what happened? Are we screwed? It might be over now. I don't know, dude. This isn't good. It looks like they're flying away. They're leaving. Are there any other news stations on this? Because ABC's leaving. Yeah. Okay, they're all out. ABC has a replacement ship that will have more fuel. Okay. But isn't this the replacement one? Wasn't this the replacement one? Fuck, man. That might be it. I don't know why they're leaving. Maybe just the weather. Ran out of fuel? I don't think so, because I think that this was the replacement one. The first one came in and they ran out of fuel and they left and they brought another one in. So I think this is the replacement one. Prediction, yeah, I think we're just going to have to refund it. I'm waiting a second to see it. I'm just trying to verify. What's up, Kenny? Yeah, you missed it. JJ, expected place? Nah. I have a Jenny pillow that Scentless bought me. It's sitting over there. Richie, what's up? Yeah, you guys are all way late. This was actually a pretty entertaining police chase. But it's over now. That was a pretty good one, though. So thanks, everybody. Should it be no? No, I think we'll just refund it. I think I'm just going to refund it. Because the police chase is technically still going. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to call it yes or a no. I don't like that. So, thanks, everybody. Yeah. Shout out to the Mr. Tire Guy. I don't know what else to say. That's it. Thanks, everybody, for watching. There's a lot of people here right now. There's a lot of people watching this right now. Shout out to the 250 people on YouTube. What the fuck? Hey, thanks, guys. What the fuck? There's 250 people on YouTube right now. How did that happen? How did that happen? Okay, anyway, shout out to all of you. I don't know where you came from, but thanks for coming in here. And if I go live again tonight, come back because it's going to be another police chase. Hopefully weather permitting, criminals permitting, you know, all that. So anyway, if I go live, come back. Have a good rest of the night. Got recommended on the homepage. Okay. I'll hopefully work on getting some clips up from this chase because there's a couple of good moments.